And Tawana, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Cogburn,
Here.
Commissioner Varner. Here. Director Brewer,
Here.
Director Minor,
Here.
Commissioner Munn,
Here.
Commissioner Mills.
Here.
There's a quorum present.
All right, thank you. And the only thing on the agenda is this funding request by the city of Texarkana, Arkansas. Mr. Ellington, I will turn it over to you now.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I think you had distributed in your information a phasing for the Front Street Plaza project, but y'all we had some concern and some discussions about trying to, how fast the project could move, a little bit of that discussion, as well as trying to make sure that we broke out some distribution of your funds. So what I showed you was that the city funds would pay for phase one, which is whatever happens to the stage cover, and have a contingency there as well. And then in phase two, the restroom skids and their pad and plumbing, electrical, and some bollards would be in phase two. That would be what we would ask you to pay for currently, okay? And no commitments for the future. However, come back with us and look at phase 3 and 4 at the end of this, probably at the end, toward the end of this calendar year. I don't know if we don't want to do that in your meeting where you're dealing with grants and stuff, but in another meeting, we'd come back and talk about these phases for the next year, and determine how we're gonna partner together on that piece. So that's what I have to present for you tonight, showing you that our piece would be in the stage piece, yours would be in the primary restroom piece, and starting our bollard work down in that area as well.
Do you
I
have?
did present our,
go ahead.
while I've got you, I did present our project to the Historical Commission as well, just so they knew what we were doing. And we did talk a little bit about the tie that binds sculpture and trying to utilize some bricks in that area and make the site very attractive.
Do you have a finalized location to put the restrooms yet?
No, sir, still got a couple of items that I'm working on for the owned, city-owned property or own additional property that we may purchase, okay? For that purpose, but again, it would be on city property.
Do you have a time frame for any, I don't want you to have to get into specifics about any specific parcel of land, but do you have a time frame on if the city is going to purchase additional plot of land, how long that might take?
Oh, and I think we would have that the next 90 to 120 days, knowing where we'll end up with that particular restroom site. And I'll be glad to send y'all a notice of that. But again, it will be city-owned property before I put your improvements on that.
Is phase 3 involved directly with the bathrooms for phase 2? Because I do definitely see the need for bathrooms. But the bollards and landscape and lighting, the light pole banners, the side amenities, does that pertain to the bathrooms, or is that in another area?
That first group of bollards in phase 2 would be trying to make sure that we're completing that site for use, okay, primarily, and then the other bollards in phase 3 and further out are trying to move further out into the downtown area.
So it'd be accurate, phase 2, basically we'll get the restrooms built and the stuff that you need around it to have
Right.
that functional for,
Right.
that, okay.
And some bollards to block off the streets, but not all of them. Is that right?
Right.
And you're only asking for A&P funds right now for that phase 2?
Yes, sir.
So phase 3 bollards and landscaping and light pole banners, that's not what you're asking A&P for?
Those are both future funding projects, phase 3 and 4, and I will be back to have that conversation with you about phase 3 and 4 and what partnership relationship we can have on that, just like I'm asking you for phase 1 and 2.
Well, phase 1 is already funded by the city, so you're basically asking for phase 2.
Yes, ma'am.
I do happen to read in some of our literature that while not allowing such special revenues to be utilized for expenditures that are normally paid from the general revenues of the city, like cleaning of the streets and things, is that going to come out of your funds, or is that going to be charged with our city people doing that? I mean, can we do that? That's number 4.
Number,
Number 4.
I think that we can,
Sentences or
you know,
lines.
A&P doesn't have any employees, direct employees to clean restrooms and everything.
Right.
But I think the plan is for the Parks Department, just like they clean at the parks and the ball fields and wherever else, to also take care of this area downtown. Is that right?
All right, we have Parks and Rec people, and we have city, separate, those are separate.
So our park and rec,
They're all public works.
And you, Public Works.
they're all under public works, yes, ma'am. Just assigned to
I
the
was
park.
thinking, that, I don't know if we could pay for that, A&P. What's that number 4?
And again, we're improving this area to be a facilitator primarily, not a programmer. Doesn't mean we won't program at that site ourselves as a city, but again, it will be an improved space for others to come rent from us and have use of that area. In the contract, we may have such things as them cleaning the restrooms during that event, or picking up the trash after their event. So those are kind of things that go in a contract, in an operating contract.
And also, is that something that we could use ADC workers, for example?
Sure, and
To help.
several of our public works guys are from our ADC group as well too. So we have about 8 or 10 people that work either on the streets or in the parks with us all the time.
And these restrooms that you're proposing, they would be open at other times, not all of the time, but at times when the stage is not being utilized, for example, Run the Line or whatever other event might be held downtown?
Other events in our main street area on both sides of the line. If there's other events down there that need public restrooms, yes, they'll be open.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I had Mr. Tyler Richards' office pull all the PFUs, which is the public facilities uses. I was curious as how many events we have downtown every year. And there was over 30 PFUs last year in a COVID year when we didn't have a whole lot going on. You go back and look at the previous years when we didn't have COVID things going on, you're looking at almost something going on downtown every weekend, whether it be smaller events or larger events. So I think that this investment we're looking at doing is going to be a huge, huge impact to downtown as far as having the facilities to make those events go.
I hate to ask this, but where does that leave our stage? In the hands of donations or something like that?
Well, I mean, our stage in phase 1 on here is actually our general fund money. Okay, so
Right.
we're putting our city money
But-
in the improvement on the railroad lease property.
You wanted, what did you? Page. I don't see my numbers now. I see that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's the
I
new
know
one
that,
he's
yeah,
given us.
I know that.
It's probably changed a little bit. Yeah, right here.
Okay, okay, see?
you wrote down, we can't do it because A&P can't do it. That's why he's using city funds to do it. Because it,
Shifted that.
right, to city's responsibility as opposed to A&P, because that stage is actually on, that stage is actually on leased property, which is why A&P funds can't go toward
Okay,
it.
right, okay. That's fine, good. Yeah. Okay.
I would like to see the city fund a little bit on phase two. I think us having a fund, though, I mean, we need the bathrooms. Is the city able to fund any more? Is that, you're using it off of the stage, the general fund money?
You know, the board of directors did put up close to 400,000 in a pool of money for us to do certain downtown improvements. So this is just a portion of that. Could we pay more? If, you know, let's just say that 315 doesn't cover what I need y'all to cover. If anything else gets covered there, the city's gonna cover in this phase 1 and 2. Okay?
Right, because price fluctuation,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
and the bids are,
We
you know,
have the ability to
Right.
do that inside those funds, general funds that we have available.
that sounds good.
Are there any other questions from the commission of Mr. Ellington? If not, I'm going to open it up to the public that's here. If anyone would like to speak, either for or against. Okay, if not, is there anything else from the commission?
Are we voting for the whole
Make a
amount,
motion.
or are we gonna
We can-
haggle with it? or
Whoever
something?
makes the motion, I guess it's up to that, or if we want to discuss it, and
Okay.
so, but now would be the time.
I would say, well, I think the vote should be, are we gonna vote for the whole amount, or are we gonna vote for another amount? How do y'all feel?
I feel like we should go ahead and make the motion for the whole amount, and especially phase 1 and phase 2, and we've already decided phase 3 and 4, that we was going to plan that at a later date and reallocate, accordingly. But we do need to put all phases in the vote.
All phases in this vote?
He's just really asking for
For
phase
phase two.
two right now.
Phase two.
Phase three could be when they apply in October for.
Okay, well, let's just do phase 1 and 2, well, phase 2, because he's going to take care of phase 1.
Well, we don't have anything to do with 1, right?
Right.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay, so we need
phase
to make a motion.
So our decision now is phase 2 is what, the only thing that we're
Right.
considering now. And I think what Meredith was saying was if we want to do the entire 315 or something short of 315.
I don't think we can
Well,
do
anything,
And-
yeah, I think 315 is adequate because there's gonna be an overage. We just don't have the precise numbers. But when you're doing those bids and estimation, it tends to go over 5-10% or what have you, and the city's willing to cover that. I think we need to make this sure, we say that in the motion, that the city's gonna cover the overage over 315.
Okay, I mean, I'm good with that. I'm good with 315.
Yep.
So I
Motion?
guess,
We need a motion?
Is there, we do need a motion. Let me ask one more other question, Mr. Ellington.
Okay.
Is there, are you going to, it says phase 1 and phase 2, but is actually are they going to happen in that order, or is phase 2 maybe going to be a little ahead of phase 1, or what is the status of the stage building, I guess is my question.
The stage is in its final design, and the roof shelter is in its final design now, so, within 120 days, it can probably be bid out. So I expect it to be under a fall construction schedule probably. And the restrooms, once y'all approve, we can get our bids in within 30 to 60 days, and then they don't make those units until they're purchased, okay? So, but their manufacturing process is about 90 to 120 days too, so.
And within that 90, 120 days, you'll know where you're gonna put it, if you have to
Yeah.
purchase property or where it's
Correct,
gonna
correct.
be.
So we'll
Okay.
be moving on our location, trying to get that solidified first. But we'll also get that order done on the skids themselves and get that
Maybe we're
work.
ready by summertime. Is that possible?
That'd be great.
By when?
Summertime?
She said.
Not this
How
summer.
about by the Christmas tree?
Yes, ma'am, summertime.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, and I know, I mean, and I've had people, I mean, as I'm sure the rest of the commissioners have people talking to you about this, you know, and there's this big misconception about the $1 million bathrooms.
Jeez.
So I would like, you know, to lay that to rest, that they are not $1 million bathrooms.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
And that this commission, as long as I've been on it, has been talking about doing something that would make a significant impact on our tourism and our ability to have things. And the direction seems to be downtown. You know, and that is true of a lot of other cities that have metropolitan entertainment districts. And that has seemed to work out for us. It seems like the logical place to go with it. I'm happy with doing this, and I think bathrooms, you know, is a great first step in investing in what could be, what's already pretty good, but it could be really fabulous. And I look forward to, and I'm glad the A&P is a part of that. I'm glad we have made the decisions that we have over the last year and reserved our funds to spend on that instead of a dollop here or there. And this will, I think this will,
This is a big impact.
it's a big impact.
That number 2, I know the stage is, but that number 2, to me, is a big impact.
And with y'all's, you know, the A&P Commission's leadership, I'm glad it's going to a great place. We also have to remember the people that are paying for this fund and
Yes.
be aware that it's
Yes.
coming from all
Yes.
the hotels and,
Yeah.
and the restaurants. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes. Well, I would like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion for approval for the 2022 funding request, Phase 2, 315,000. Overage of that amount, the city will cover the cost.
all right. And in that motion would be, part of it would be to amend the budget.
Yes.
Yes. And to amend the budget.
I see you over there, I know.
knew where I was going.
Thanks, Brittany.
And I will second that.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, Rhonda, would you call the roll, please?
Cochran,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Minor,
Yes.
Munn,
Yes.
Mills.
Yes.
The motion is approved.
All right. Mr. Ellington, thank you.
I want to
Yes.
say, I appreciate the fact that these two ladies have businesses that are not downtown at the present time, and it's very nice that you can support such an effort like this. You know, it's United Front.
You're welcome.
Well, I mean, we had people that came to our business this last weekend, and they
Yeah.
came early
We had a
because
great
they were
weekend
going
because
to
of the
one of
Lord.
the two
Yeah, we
concerts
had a
that were in
wonderful
town.
weekend.
I've heard
So
that.
it gets people out.
And I really appreciate it.
We stayed and wandered around downtown, and glad we didn't have to go to the bathroom. But
I'm sure we'll let you inside.
Mr. Chairman, I got
Yes.
one more thing I'd like to share with you.
Yes.
I finished this today, so I wanted to present it to you today, but I'd like to put it on your April agenda. This is a request consideration that I ask you to look at in relationship to the arts agencies in our community. And I know this is just all of your first time to see this, but it does lay out some of the information in relationship to the Texas side and their support. So I just ask you to consider this, and we will continue this discussion as we move forward. And so I just provided you what information I had from the Texas side, so you had that as well. You know, arts were part of your original creation of the funds in all of the communities across the state. And these two agencies are definitely a part of our arts community as part of that. So I ask you to look at that and see if we can consider that for future action. No action needed, sir.
All right, is there any other business? If not,
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Is there a second? All right, the motion is second. Would you call the roll, please?
Cogburn?
Yes.
Varner?
Yes.
Brewer?
Yes.
Minor?
Yes.
Munn?
Yes.
Mills?
All right, we're adjourned.